Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone in Facebook land. Good morning. Join us today on Wake Up Day 1565. Session topic: Uncover your unconscious agreements with your girl, Miss Meika, the thought healer. Good morning and welcome. If you want to work with me, come over to the Zoom space to ask any questions. Oh, good morning to all the participants that are coming in. I love to hear your voices. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, everyone in Facebook, and welcome to Wake Up Everybody. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning. Welcome, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Wake Up Everybody. Good morning, Adam. And thank you for your engagement. I love me some engagement. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning, Coach Mika. How you doing this morning?
I'm good, Adam. How are you?
Every day is a good day. Every day that I wake up with a Wolf family is always.
Amen. Amen.
I have to put that on
Good
a shirt, Adam.
morning.
You've been saying that for 5 years. You're gonna put that somewhere.
You know?
Yes. All
It's
right,
the truth, though.
Malika. What'd you say?
I say it's the truth, though.
I hear you. Let's rock out, y'all.
Good morning. Welcome.
Oh, Malika, we can't hear it.
Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Wake up, everybody. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. It's time to get up. We're healing, we're dealing, we're growing. Together, releasing. We're teaching, we're moving. Together, we're learning, discerning. We're striving. Together, we're leading, connecting, transforming. Together.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Good morning, everyone. And welcome to Wake Up Everybody. It's your girl, Miss Meika. And today's topic is a very interesting one because you know me. I loves me some responsibility, right? I love talking about responsibility. And not in the context of shame on you for not being responsible, but in the context of igniting our ability to respond. And how do we want to respond? What is the most effective way for us to respond? That is the context that I have responsibility in, not in the shaming, like you need to be responsible. Like, no more of that, right? More so like, how do I ignite? And you might want to go and get your paper and pen and really like ask yourself, this question, write it down. Like, how do I ignite? How do I want to respond to this? What is the best way for me to respond to circumstances, my life, anything, right? My relationships, a conversation, an uncomfortable conversation, or even a conversation that's going to catapult myself or my career or anything, right? Like catapult me to where I want to be. And a lot of things that are blocking our ability to respond are something I call unconscious agreements. These are um, things that we are agreeing to that we are not necessarily admitting or being responsible for because we might not even know that we have that agreement. We might not even know that we're agreeing to a particular circumstance or we're agreeing to being in a particular way. And so, I will start off with an example for me in my life. So I remember, and I've shared this with like my one-on-one clients. I remember actually, living with my partner at the time. We're no longer together, but I remember living with my partner and he was a smoker. And I hated it. And so I thought that I could build an office, a lounge area, a separate area for him to smoke in, and that would be fine. And he still refused to, he smoked in it, but he still loved smoking in the bed, right? Which drove me nuts. And I remember going to bed saying a prayer and saying to God, please don't let me get secondhand cancer or something I said like that. Like, please don't let me get, secondhand smoke or whatever I said. And I remember God saying, I didn't put you in the bed. I didn't put you there. You chose that. And I was like you, and it said loud, you're agreeing to it. Like you're complaining about it a lot, but you're agreeing to being in that bed. And I had to get responsible, no longer complaining about what he did or didn't do, but I had to get responsible. If I care so much, quote unquote, about cancer, which I'm praying to God for, if I care so much about cancer, then why am I laying in this bed? Why am I agreeing to it? It's not about him. It's about the contradiction, the hypocrisy of it, right? Like not having not having the ability to see my part in it, but only seeing that person over there and seeing like, okay, it's easier for me to complain about that. It's easier for me to diminish that person versus seeing that I am agreeing to it. And that was like a light bulb. And I had to start to see certain aspects of my relationships with my partner, certain aspects, my relationships with friends, with my family. I had started to see these unconscious things like agreements that I had in place that I was constantly complaining about. And so a great place to actually like start to uncover these unconscious agreements are by looking at what your biggest complaints are. And so I, shared mine, and you know how your girl do. We jump boop right in, right? So I want to hear from somebody like what's opening up and what do you hear when you hear unconscious agreement? What do you, by my share alone, what's opening up for you in your own possible unconscious agreements? And let's uncover it together. So let's go. Chan? Do we have any hands up?
Yeah.
Y'all know all what? Like how many people we got? All 14 people of y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all know that this is an interactive session. This is a raise your hand and we about to talk. This is not me just generating. This is us generating.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Mika, for opening the floor for this conversation. And as we do before our woo sessions, we did a clearing. And thank you for giving more context around what unconscious agreements are. And you said what you were agreeing to, and I used to call it, now that you spoke more on it, I used to say, I'm allowing this. So it's the same thing, but still it's like being in agreement with this and attached to this energy and allowing it, both are just draining and unfair to me, unfair to the people around me. My unconscious agreement was that my voice doesn't matter. And so we talked about how it actually does. And it moves people, it shifts the room, it's powerful, it changes things. But when I agree to this and I pledge allegiance to this thought, I am then giving it energy, and it's growing in my head. It's coming out and manifesting it in my life. And then it takes away from the gift that was given to me of this voice to use it. And then you mentioned cancer, and I've shared this before in the space. Um, the connection now to my voice. I had salivary gland cancer. It's a very rare cancer. Not a lot of people get it, and it's in the throat area. And so
Wow.
I always make that connection now that I've learned about it. I was like, yo, your voice, your throat chakra, you've manifested this, and it came out in this form of dis-ease. And
Right, because the
cancer
body keeps the
is
score,
keeps the
right?
score, and right in that area. And whatever I was holding on to, even now, when my throat burns or if I'm coughing too much or this phlegm, it's like you need to say something, something somewhere you're not speaking up. And my body's also talking to me. But that it always sinks in. Like when I found out where it was, what it is, I was like, I done did this to myself. Like
You
I've
know, one
manifested
of the
this.
agreements that I can hear, and just even energetically, Shan, that
Mm-hmm.
that you might have is to not cause discourse or
Mm-hmm.
to upset people.
Confrontation,
So
yeah.
it's not about not having an agreement to keep your voice small or
Mm-hmm.
to not have a voice. That's not the agreement. You
Mm-hmm.
might have a more allegiance to not creating discord, not
Mm-hmm.
creating
I hate confrontation. It's like
right,
sometimes it's good.
not
Right.
creating confrontation, but the confrontation is in your throat,
It sits there, yes. And I'm dealing
right?
with it, and the other
So you're
person isn't.
still creating confrontation,
Within myself and my body, yes.
right? So like you got if you want to break out of this, you gotta break the agreement
Mm-hmm.
to not create discord. You have to create a space that you can create discord. You
Mm-hmm.
can create disharmony with your voice. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
You have permission to actually make people uncomfortable
Mm-hmm.
with
And
your voice
that makes me
because
uncomfortable.
that is the thing that is keeping your voice small.
Right.
Like, I'm more committed to having people
Mm-hmm.
not hear the truth from me
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want to hurt their feelings.
Mm-hmm. And then feel it later in my body. I deal with it, not them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got to break the agreement that you have to cover people.
Mm-hmm. Even to that extent, I never thought about it like that. Always protecting others, and it's like so much so that I'm doing harm to myself.
Right, that you're not protecting
Right.
your voice.
Mm-hmm.
And so we are people who are constantly trying to, I mean, first of all, women are raised to betray themselves. They are
Mm-hmm.
literally raised to betray themselves for
Mm-hmm.
the sake of love.
Mm-hmm.
So they are literally raised to betray the truth within
Mm-hmm.
themselves, right?
Right.
And there's an agreement there,
Right.
right? Oh no, that's your sister. You don't
Mm-hmm.
want to hurt her feelings. No,
Mm-hmm.
that's just don't, share. Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
okay, they broke the toy. We'll get another one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're raised to not hold people accountable. We're raised to betray ourselves for the sake of love. Bell Brooks
Mm-hmm.
quoted this about how women are raised to betray themselves for the sake of love. She even wrote a whole book on it. And so think about every time you betrayed yourself, betrayed a truth, a absolute truth for yourself for the sake of somebody feeling comfortable. And there's an agreement that I will shut up, sit down, be quiet, hide so that this person is comfortable. We have to be accountable that we are agreeing to doing that.
Right. And then it festers.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right, right. Thank you, Shan.
Thank you, Meika.
You're
Appreciate that. All
welcome.
right.
Who else? We have 16 people in the room.
Okay. All right. We got Terry, and then Ariana said, "Great job reading and hearing your body. Thank you." And Terry said, "Yes, we are raised to betray ourselves for others." So Terry, tell us more.
Good morning,
Good
Terry.
morning. Good morning,
Good to
everyone.
hear
And
your
as
voice,
all
Terry.
good
In a
morning,
while.
hey, and Queen Mika, as usual, you are just looking radiant.
All the time.
Thank
She looks
you.
like this at 6:30 when we jump on. I'm like, how do you do it?
I
Always ready
have
to
an
go.
agreement.
I'm agreement. I'm always look right. Love it.
I'm finding this conversation so dynamic. I'm going through a grief process myself, and I'm learning that grief is really about you. It's initiated by the loss, but it really is about you and where you need to heal so that you can move forward. And I'm finding this conversation so dynamic because I am realizing that as a woman who has been through a lot of abuse in my past,
Mm-hmm.
that I've made a lot of unconscious agreements that did not
Mm.
have my best interest in mind, but had everybody else's best interest in mind. You don't say anything because it's going to cause problems. Um, when you do speak up, um, then I was led to believe that I was the problem, because I'm learning that it's all where a person begins to tell the story. Um, that most times the story is not told, I smacked her, I hit her, I kicked her, and then she screamed. The story gets told from, she just started screaming.
Well,
So,
whatever the story, wherever the story is, right? So like, people we are a society of people that love labels, right?
mhm,
To describe people. And then we volley for agreement. Oh,
mhm,
that person is like blah blah blah, right? Like, oh, that person blah blah blah, right? Like, or being raised is like, you know, he's so bad. He don't listen. And then there's so much agreement in the household that the person starts to agree with it themselves. I
mhm,
see it with young children where everybody is like, this person don't listen. They're like blah blah blah, right? They're so bad, or they are so, they won't sit down. They also anxious, right? And then there's all this agreement, and then the child begins to go, there's all this evidence. I must be that. I agree to that. I'm agreeing to that,
mhm.
right? And so, especially, in black and brown cultures, we have so many sayings, right? So like, use a lie, right? Like, we have so many, like, all of these sayings about who people are. And then, and also these labels like Dirty Harry and, stink such and such. And then there's all these agreements. We're making up all of these labels and reasonings, and there's all this agreement. And then what happens eventually is the person actually agrees about it for themselves. And then start actively, once they agree, there's belief, and then you start actively acting that out. How many people in school got called ugly or got called you're too fat, or you're too skinny.
Mm.
You don't have no shape. And then we wonder why we have all these triggers. Like, why was I even triggered by that? It's because of these unconscious agreements that didn't get healed or not even known to us that we still are operating from. So like growing up, people used to be like, "Oh, Meeks, you so cute and skinny," like the guys, right? And always went for my friends that were more voluptuous. And so I started to agree that I was too skinny. So I used to take, what is that, weight on or whatever. It was like some kind of powder or something. I used to take weight on. I used to do all this stuff to try to be thick until I reached 35. And then I started getting thick. And I was like, oh, wait, hold on, you know? But I had put so much momentum behind that's who I needed to be. And I had an agreement that skinny girls or girls with no figure, that there was an agreement that they're not attractive. And so then that became like this unconscious agreement. So anytime somebody would say I'm skinny, internally in my body, I would be triggered because I had this agreement that there was something wrong with being skinny. See, it can't trigger you if you don't have the agreement. Everything needs your agreement. How much money you have in your account is your agreement. How healthy or not healthy you are is an agreement. It all is agreement. And today, what we're discovering is, what am I agreeing to? You get that, Terry? You still there?
Oh yeah, I'm getting it. I'm looking at my interactions when me and all my siblings are together. Now,
Mm-hmm.
girl, you know me. I got a mouth like I can speak, okay? But when I get in that environment, I somehow have this agreement that I need to be the peacemaker. So I'm the most quietest in the room, particularly if the conversation starts to look like it's going to the left.
Mm-hmm.
So then I don't give myself voice. I feel that it's my job to keep the peace and not um, allow confusion to occur. Now, granted, look at the insanity of that. How can I control 3 or 4 people and what may come out of their mouths? But it's the agreement that I've made with myself, the subconscious agreement that I've made with myself that allows me to, as we would say in our group, almost code switch when I get in the company of my family.
And the agreement is probably more so not about to have the peace for them, but to keep you safe,
Yes, I would agree.
right? So, like, let me be the peacemaker so that I'm safe. Like, I have an agreement to be quiet in this circumstance so that I am safe. Now, if that works for you, fine. But if it doesn't, and you don't feel like you're being your authentic self, then you want to start to look at it like, why am I being quiet? Why am I agreeing that? Because we have it that discourse, confrontation, people being uncomfortable is wrong. So we contort ourselves into being a particular way so that because remember what I said, what Bell Brooks said, we will betray ourselves for love, to keep the peace. We will betray ourselves to to make other people feel comfortable. And that is, it's like, oh, these people are arguing and fighting, and I don't want to, it's also, it's the birthplace of how we start to create our ego and our identity, because that our ego is nothing but survival. It's our survival mechanism. It's how we survive in the world. It is not arrogance. Your ego could be as shy as a mouse because that's what it needs to do to protect itself, to survive the moment. So ego, I will say it every time I'm on here, ego is not a personality. It's a survival mechanism. It shows up in your personality, but it's how you survive. What do you use? What tactics you use to survive the moment, whether that was when you were four or whether you are present now. So when you look at your unconscious agreement, Terry, it's more so about I'm agreeing to shut up so that I stay safe.
Agreed.
You get that? And so if that
Agreed.
agreement is, if you feel like that's an authentic way of being and it works for you, but if you feel like I'm not being my authentic self, I can only be my authentic self in the wake up space, then you got to change the agreement. You got to shift the agreement. See, I don't have an agreement to come on wake up with a bonnet on my head and, no judgment on anybody who does that, but I just don't have that agreement. So when Shan goes, how do you wake up and you like this at 6:30 in the morning? I wake up at 4:30 because I have an agreement of how I want to present myself. Now that's my agreement. If you want to roll out and wake up and have your bonnet on and just talk to people because you have that privilege to do that. There's no judgment. It's your agreement. So our agreements will start to we get to navigate through the world with or without agreement. And we complain so much because it's easier to complain. It is so much easier to complain than to actually get responsible for what we're agreeing to. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you. Taking it all in.
Awesome. The no bonnet agreement. Yes. I do have a no bonnet agreement. I do. I have two of them, but I have a no bonnet in public agreement. I do.
Yeah, in public, right?
And
That's what
I'm
I thought
fine
about.
with that agreement. I'm
Mhm.
okay. And for those who wear it publicly, that is fine. That is your agreement. The thing that we want to get about our agreements is that it comes with everything that we're agreeing to.
Mm,
Whatever we're agreeing to, everything that comes with it, we're agreeing to that as well.
Ashay.
Thanks. So Shan, anything in the chat? What's going on?
All
What are
right,
the
let's
people
see.
saying?
Let's see. It's a question. Oh, Adam had a question for Terry. Terry, the question that we have to ask ourselves is, where did this energy come from? So you were talking about your sisters and being a mediator. So I think Adam wants to know where that was rooted in, what that was rooted in, maybe something from childhood or um, anything you want to share about that. And then I said, I hope my boys help somebody today. And then we talked about the bad kid, and I said, he's not a bad kid, he's a kid having a bad moment. So sometimes we identify people as the behavior, and it's like that's the label. You have to remove that from that one moment or how that person is showing up. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and then we talked. I said the Bonnet Chronicles was a thing with Tammy Roman, and she made a lot of money off of that. So it works for some people or not.
Right, right,
Yes.
right. And she
She was
woke up,
dedicated,
she
right?
dedicated a whole
hmm
series
Yes.
with that bonnet on, and she blew up with that. You know what I'm
Made the
saying?
unique
So
twist. Yes.
he didn't have that no bonnet in public agreement.
hmm
Everybody wants to, we're judging people, we're labeling people, we're because it's all but we're not being responsible for your own agreement.
Right.
That's why I said it's so easy. It's so easy to complain about Tammy and her bonnet than to look at your own agreements.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's so easy for me to complain about my partner and, about what he was or wasn't doing, right? Than to actually look at, oh, I'm agreeing to
Mm-hmm.
being in this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm agreeing to being uncomfortable. And if
Right.
God forbid, if I got cancer through that means I agreed to it.
Mm-hmm.
Being that like putting that mirror up so close to you that you can't hide from yourself.
Right.
So anybody else, any other raised hands? Because I don't have an agreement to not interact with you.
Yes. Let's see. Oh, Jackie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, got Terry and Jackie. You brought them both back. Okay, Mika. Hey, Jackie.
Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, she got me out the bed. My goodness. This is the earliest I've been out the bed in months.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Well, so
Thank
Mika and I
you.
see each other one on one. So I'm working on my agreements right now, trying to identify whatever. And I'm looking at my complaints and saying, okay, what's my agreement there? One of my things, and I think Terry spoke of this earlier, and I don't know, and I had said something to Mika about, is this a black woman thing? There's certain things that we've been taught. One of my things
You're going in and out a little bit, Jackie.
is this. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I took one of my headsets out so I could hear. Um, my one of my agreements is that my needs can wait. That
Mm,
I will, you know, worry about that later. So, example, going to the nail salon. I don't like what's happening with my nails. I don't say anything because we're in the middle and I'm considering this person. Oh, I don't want to get them upset. I don't, I don't want to be a complainer. I don't want to be that person. I've always been concerned about being that person because I think I was told at one point that you complain too much. And
mm.
because of that, I kind of internalized that and was like, yeah, you're a complainer. So, just don't say anything. You can deal with it later. And I've walked out of many a nail salon unhappy. And then I would go talk to my daughter and say, I hate the way this looks or whatever. And she's like, Mommy, I'm going to need you to speak up. I'm going to need you to open your mouth when things are happening. And I find it difficult to do that in the moment. So,
So that is really interesting. I'm so glad you brought that up, especially about the nail salon, right? Because one thing I got an agreement on, okay, is these nails are going to be done. I love my nails. And I have went through so many nail techs, right? And what I started to see is that I had an agreement to be mistreated.
mm, oh my goodness, I don't want to go there, Mika, but go ahead.
I had an agreement that it was okay to be mistreated in service, with service. That I live in New York and it's just our way. Suck it up. And I had an agreement. So if I didn't like a design or I didn't like, um, I am 52 years old. I've been getting my nails done since I was 15 years old,
Mm,
right? If I didn't like a design or I didn't like something, I never had them fix it
mm,
because there was a agreement, like you're saying, you know, I didn't want to complain, but what I really looked at was that I agreed that it was okay to be mistreated. That didn't just, that's not just in the nail salon. That's also in my relationship with my children, like with friends, right? Like there was a space there was an agreement of allowing mistreatment. And so, if the nail tech pull your hand or they cut you, right? So I don't get my cuticles cut. I only get the sides of my nails cleaned up. And when I say I don't get my cuticles cut, no, 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 you need a cuticle, right? Even the response to my request, no, 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 right?
Hmm.
I was allowing that, almost like I don't have a say about what's best for me. And so we would get into a little like, I don't want my cuticle cut. And like now but I'm only doing this because you're a no about my request. And it was just recently, I want to say this summer, that the nail tech, because I was with a nail tech that I was with for some years and she retired.
Hmm.
And then I went to a referral my friend took me to. And I actually made a request that she change the color because I didn't like it. And from that point on, she started treating me like shit because I made the request to change the color, right?
Right.
And she started every time I went to the get my nails done, she was either pulling my hand or she was raising the price. And I was like, why am I paying to be mistreated?
Tell
Why
me
am
about
I
it.
giving somebody money to be mistreated? And so this is a very poignant point. I declared in that moment, and we have Declare Isha on the line, Stacy. She's always declaring something. But I declared in that moment, and I said, I am not going to allow myself, I'm not going to give myself permission. I'm not going to give people permission. I'm not going to give myself permission to be mistreated anymore.
Got that. I didn't even think of it in terms of mistreatment. I was just thinking about I don't want to be the complainer. I want to protect myself. I don't like conflict. And that comes from way back, from childhood that I didn't like the conflict. But
Mm-hmm.
but thinking about, I'm gonna have to consider that. I'm gonna have to sit down with that because that is probably at the core of it. Why
Mm-hmm.
am I allowing myself to be mistreated? And that is something left to discover. I know that there's some instances where I did it because I was trying to hide because of my trauma in
Mm-hmm.
my early years. But the fact that I'm still carrying that on and that I'm still struggling in that is a concern. So yeah, and
Well, part of it is we can reason anything.
yeah.
We can reason anything. Like if even if you were to interview someone who did a heinous crime, they would have a reason
Hmm.
versus I did it because I'm hateful. That actually would be more accurate, right? And so instead of like we create the reason, like, oh, the reason why I allow mistreatment is because of my upbringing or my childhood or et cetera and et cetera. It's like the reason I allowed mistreatment to be straight, to tell the truth and shame the devil
Yeah.
is because I have an agreement to not cause chaos. I have an
Okay.
agreement to not have confrontation. I have an agreement to avoid. So a good place to look at where your unconscious agreements are is like, I have an agreement to avoid confrontation. I have an agreement to avoid being a disappointment to people. I have
Hmm.
an agreement to avoid any kind of rejection where I'm not part of the group or the collective.
I think that even deep down, I have an agreement that I'm not enough.
Right. And so you could have that as an agreement, right? But I'm not enough is not based in any kind of reality
I know. I know
because
this.
unless you need another heart to talk to me or you need, extra, like two extra mouths on one side of your face, you don't have that, your one mouth isn't enough, your two eyes isn't enough, the heart that you have in your chest isn't enough, the liver, the liver that you have, the two kidneys you have, that's not enough, the 2 feet you have, that's not enough. You have everything that you need.
Right.
So the I'm not enough conversation is not based in reality. And so you have an agreement to not be in reality.
Oh, oh. Okay. Yep.
Most of us,
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
right? So I have an agreement that I can dip in and out of these non-reality conversations.
Mm.
Like
Listen, the deeper I dig, the deeper it gets.
it does, don't it, boo? Don't it? It does. It does. But what are you getting out of this conversation?
Oh, I'm getting that there's so it seems to be so many sides to an agreement. Like it doesn't seem to be straightforward. Like, oh, it's just this, it's just that. It could be a combination of things
Mm-hmm.
that creates this agreement to allow myself to be mistreated at a nail
Mm-hmm.
salon or a hair salon. I walk out of
Yep.
hair salons and I don't like my hair.
Yep.
And I paid all this money and I sat all these hours and I accepted this mistreatment, or I accepted this shoddy job. I don't know, how else to explain it, but that is definitely something that I've been working on. And my daughter and she helps me a lot, and you help me a lot. And so between the three of us, I got to get this together.
We cooking, girl. We cooking. We
Yeah,
cooking. Okay. We cooking. It's all good. Thank
thank
you,
you.
Jackie, so much for your contribution and even bringing that up. Like, I didn't even say that out loud, that the agreement to be mistreated. How many of us have that unconscious agreement of being mistreated that we allow and we reason it away? We don't even deal with it, that it's an agreement. We just create a reason. It's like, oh, it's because that's my kid, or that's my blah, 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 that's my love, or, we're close and that's just how they are, or whatever reason we're giving it, but we're actually agreeing to the mistreatment.
Mm.
Thank you so much for that. Shan, where are we? I see a lot of things going
A
on in the
lot,
chat.
a lot of bonnet talk. No. Now we know Cassandra let her kids drive with the bonnets on her car. Yogisha's running to the car, but with a hoodie over her bonnet. It's great. Um, so we need to
Lots of
do,
that bonnet is a trigger, boy. That
yeah, we're gonna
bonnet.
do an episode on bonnets. Like, do we or do we not wear them? Like, where we don't wear them, where do we draw
Oh
the line?
gosh.
But yes, thank you so much, Jackie, for sharing. And I agreed with her. I was like, yes, our voices. I used to walk out unhappy all the time just to avoid conflict. And then you mentioned the money, and then maybe it triggered the my own natural energy yield in this space. I'm exchanging energy. I worked for this, and I'm saying, here you go. I'm super unhappy, but here you go. You take it from me, and I gave that away, and there was no exchange of me being happy or satisfied,
Mm-hmm.
just to avoid the conflict or sharing, hey, like I didn't like this, or can you fix
Mm-hmm.
that? Or them making you feel bad, like, why didn't you say something earlier? It's like, well, I see it now and I don't like it. Um,
Right.
so just the conversations around that and being grounded in conflict and coming out on the other side of it is not always bad. Um, so thank you, Jackie.
Right. You have to shift the agreement that
Mhm.
conflict is bad. You
Right.
got, you know what I mean? And so
Hmm.
like I had an agreement that, I'm gonna get in trouble if I create conflict,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And so that became a belief. And then I
Hmm.
acted out almost my whole life.
Hmm. Right. So you live off of this idea. It's not a fact, right? So no one ever told me, in my face, Chantel, your voice does not matter. I let situations make that up in my head, and I've been operating from an opinion that I made up about myself. It's not a
Mm-hmm.
fact. And it's like now I live my life from this idea that's not real. And or if we don't get clarity on things like my mother said this about me years ago and that's how she felt and we didn't get clarity on it. You live your whole life thinking your mother felt this way about you and it
Right.
wasn't true until you get clarity. So using our voices, getting clarity and communicating makes a big difference.
Right, right,
Mhm.
right. And finding out like, oh, that's something that I agreed to.
Mhm.
If you have a certain amount of money in your account, you're agreeing to that month, you're agreeing to that dollar amount.
Mhm.
And we'll complain about the dollar amount that's in our account versus seeing that I'm agreeing to that.
Right.
Because when you deal with I'm agreeing to that, then you see the possibilities of what else that can you do to shift that number or to shift that circumstance.
Mhm.
But you got to get that you're agreeing to that.
Mhm.
You'll complain about your rent or how high things are. You're agreeing to that.
Mhm.
There are people in the world who live off the land. That's their agreement. They
Right.
are not concerned about the supermarket or how high something is. There
Right.
are people who have built their homes from, the ground up, right? And live off the land. That's their agreement. They don't have an agreement to be stressed out about how high something is.
Right. Yeah.
You agreed to even, if you complain about your mortgage or your rent, you agreed to have that lifestyle.
Right. Right.
You signed that contract.
Mhm. And like you said, everything that comes with it. The agreements have the residuals to them that you have to live
Exactly.
in. Mhm.
Every agreement has, right, residuals. Every agreement, it comes with it. If I
Mhm.
choose this place to live, it comes with it.
Mhm.
If I choose to live in a place because that is what I can afford, it comes with it. Everything that comes with it, it
Mhm.
comes with it.
Right. Yeah, the good, bad, and the ugly, right? Because it's not all bad, but some of it is good. But yeah, we focus on the
It
bad.
comes with it. And then
Hmm.
I get to be responsible for what it comes with
Hmm.
versus just constantly giving my energy to complaint,
Right, right.
just constantly giving my energy to being dissatisfied, just constantly giving my energy to being, just uh what is the word?
Or victimizing or low vibrational.
Yes,
Yeah, different energy.
right? It's a whole different vibration when you start to say, you know what? I am accountable for my disappointment. I am accountable for making my life so small to avoid being rejected.
Mm,
So a good place to start to look is like a lot of people say they want to be in a relationship, but what they really are agreeing to is staying safe.
mm,
I want to be, I see, it's so easy to be in the wants.
right.
I want a beautiful house with the blah, 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 and the blah, blah, blah. Right? But I don't have an agreement to receiving. I don't have an agreement to having. I have agreement to wants,
Hmm.
but I don't have an agreement to having.
Hmm. Or setting myself up for those things.
Yeah, but that would be agreeing to having.
Hmm.
Those would be the activations. Setting yourself up to have would be in the agreement to having it
Right.
or to be receiving it.
Hmm.
And so a lot of people have an agreement to give everything, and then I'll have love. I'll give my whole everything. And people be like, and I'll take it.
Yeah. Thank you. I
I will
received.
take it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then you feel so depleted and empty, but you had an agreement to give it all.
Hmm.
But you didn't put in place declaring a new agreement called receiving. So you're not in the vibrational match to receive.
Hmm.
So a lot of people come on Wake Up and they stopped agreeing to engagement.
Hmm.
I can feel the vibration. You stopped agreeing when we first started Wake Up. Everybody, the hands were like flying up to interact because you had an agreement to engage. And
Mhm.
so the vibration was explosive
Mhm.
because all of y'all energies was in engagement,
Mhm.
which engagement, these are all these electrical circuits of our energy exploding. But if you don't have if you gave up your agreement to engage, then the energy is like mid.
Mhm. I'm glad you brought that up, Mika.
It's not explosive
Mhm.
because you're not engaging.
And I'm glad you brought that up. And it was like, what's the why behind our engagement? It was right at the mid in the beginning of COVID. And we were all home, didn't know what to do with ourselves. I need engagement. I need people. I need interaction. And we were all on camera and we were like engaged. We were home, scared, didn't
Engaged,
know what was
right?
going on, couldn't go
Mhm.
outside and play. All we had was the computer and each other. So now that outside is open back up, it's like deuces. Or I got to go to work in the morning now. I'm not working remote anymore. And so many things shifted. The kids got to go to school now. But we were all home depending on each other's energy and
Mhm.
engagement.
Right. And so,
Yeah.
I watched this show called Pole to Pole on the Disney Network with Will Smith.
Hmm.
And he went to the happiest place on earth, right?
Oh.
And it's in the Himalayan mountains. And he was asking the question, like, why is this the happiest place on earth?
Hmm.
And one of the reasons why it's the happiest place on earth is because they engage with each other. They have no choice. There's no electricity up there. They're very
Hmm.
limited with resources. So it forces them as human beings to support one another and engage with one another, which
Hmm.
creates all of this joy.
Hmm.
And so, people are like, Mika, you're happy all the time. I'm not, by far.
Hmm.
But if you get the opportunity to be in my orbit, I'm going to engage with you
Hmm.
because whatever I got going on over here, right, doesn't,
None to do with
it's
you. Right.
separate. It don't have, you know what I'm not going to
No-
dump that
right. I was gonna say, that's how
over
people spill
here.
over into other people's life.
Right. I'm
Yeah.
going to engage with you
Hmm.
in the present moment and generate electricity and joy.
Hmm.
When I'm off, because I'm on, when I'm off, people know I'm off.
Hmm.
It is very clear. It is crystal. Don't mess with me. But when I'm on, which is usually,
Hmm.
right, I'm engaging with you. And that I have that agreement
Right.
to be engaging. So
Right.
what I receive is all of this love and energy, whether it's from the Thai place, the lady comes behind the counter. Every time she sees me, she's like, and she hugs me
Yes.
because of engagement.
That's
So
my
if you
lady
are
too.
lacking joy or
Yeah.
you're lacking, you know, happiness,
Mhm.
it probably has not something to do with everybody think it's money
Mhm.
or like having the love of your life. Oh, I'm not happy because I don't have the right job. No, it's your engagement.
Mhm.
It's your engagement. It's being able to pick up the phone and have an agreement like, I want to pick up the phone. I want to see you. I want to hug
Mhm.
you. I want to hang out. I want to laugh with my mouth this big. I want to engage in laughter this big. And these are all my agreements. I go through all kinds of shit, but
Mhm.
because I have the agreement of engagement, I have a community.
Right.
I've built a community, a few communities that I can engage in
Mhm. Mhm.
that ignites joy,
Right.
even despite all the things that I go through.
Right. Because they can pour back into you. And again, that energy exchange is real. And you keep what you want and give back what you don't, because that not all the energy is. helpful or good to have on you. And you mentioned
Right.
your Thai lady, and it remind me of me going to get my Chinese food. And she's like, "Hi, my son's at Georgetown now, and da, da, da. We
Yes.
came all the way from China. Now my son's going to one of the best schools. You're the only one that really asked about him." And it's like this smile on your face is giving me everything. And I just ask how your kids are doing every now and then, because
That's
you don't know what
it.
people need.
You don't,
Um,
that's what
yeah,
they need.
right, right.
And so having a commitment, unconscious and engage, I mean, unconscious agreements, right? You can actually bring them into consciousness
Mhm.
and create a new agreement.
Mm,
Like, I agree to be engaging.
mm,
You can actually declare that. Once you make the agreement, it is you know you did it.
mhm,
It's conscious now.
mhm.
An example of my son when he was staying here, I love pillows and he would have the pillows all over the place. And I would just get mad, right? And one day I came in and I was like, "Do you agree to put the pillows back?" And he's like, "Agree?"
Agree.
I said, "Yes. Do you agree to put the pillows back? I don't mind you laying on the couch. I don't mind you sitting on the couch, any of that. But when you're done, do you agree to do it?" The moment he said yes, my pillows never hit the floor.
There's something attached to that, like the word agreement. It's like committed, right? And
Right,
whether it's committed to something low vibrational or high vibrational, it's like agreement. You mean, can I put the pillow? No, do you agree to do this? Do you give your word to do this, right?
right.
Yeah, I hear you.
And that agreement kept my pillows on the couch
Right. Kept the
because
pillows on
now he
the
brought the agreement into consciousness.
hmm
You are conscious that you're agreeing to it.
hmm
When it's unconscious, you get away with murder. You get away with unhappiness. You get away with survival. You want to see where you have agreements around survival, where you have agreements about avoiding your disappointment, where you have agreements around avoiding rejection, where you have agreements around avoiding being accountable for your health.
hmm
These are all agreements. If the doctor tells you this is what you're dealing with and you continue to do the opposite, you're agreeing to your demise. You are pledging allegiance to it.
hmm
I pledge the allegiance to my demise under these United States of Americas. And we don't want to be accountable for that. We pledge allegiance to our own decline.
hmm
So it's about to be 8 o'clock, and I know some people have to go. And I thank you for your time. We're continuing because I do still have some goodies here that I want to share. So if you can stay on, absolutely, let's go. And if you can't, please come back to Facebook and watch the replay, and then you'll get the whole enchilada of it. All right. So I did see a hand, Shan, and I
Yeah,
saw the chat blowing up.
it's a lot going on, Mika. You know it is. Um, but let's bring in some more voices and we can read the chat. Malika, you still want to go?
Yeah, I didn't realize how many unconscious agreements I was making until this conversation. And now that we're talking about the power of words and what they mean, even if we're not aware of them, like just the word agreement, it sounds serious. It sounds like a handshake. It sounds like, you know what, I'm committing to this. And I did not realize the things I was saying to myself, whether they are positive or negative, are agreements. Like these are my unconscious beliefs. These are things I am feeding myself. And it's kind of like, what type of conversations am I having with my friends? What type of conversations am I having with myself? And what are we saying to each other? And what are we reinforcing through our conversations? And it's so interesting to see what we believe about ourselves just by what we agree to.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think, I've never thought about this. This is completely like shifted my perspective, because like, I remember when we were having the clearing this morning, and I was saying that I was protecting myself from being disappointed. I never looked at it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we make agreements not to cause discomfort, but to protect ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we make these agreements to protect ourselves from being like disruptors, like you were saying earlier. Make these agreements to stop ourselves from being seen. Um, make these agreements to make sure that we are so in the corner that no one can reach out to us or we can't reach out to other people. And you only realize your agreements when you're not in isolation. And so, and I noticed from today's conversation that sometimes we isolate ourselves so that we don't have to confront the agreements we make. It's so easy to tell yourself that no,
Yep.
um, I'm not gonna do this thing anymore. And you do these affirmations in the mirror until you're confronted with a situation where you're at the salon and the lady is not using the right hairpiece, she's not using the right fiber, and you're like, no man, I'm paying a lot of money for this.
Yes.
Or just like uh, agreeing to be mistreated, whether you realize it or not, or agreeing to stay silent to something you don't even agree with just to keep the peace. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm realizing that this is like a recurring theme for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like just as like women, people of color in general, especially like as an African child, you're kind of trained from a child to be agreeable because
Yes.
being agreeable means being respectful. So if
Yes.
you deviate and stand your ground, it's like, oh no, Malika, what's going on with your child? What's going on with your child? What's going on with this child? Why are they fighting back? And fighting back isn't necessarily fighting. It's just saying, no, I don't feel like doing this. I don't
Right.
understand. Asking questions. And now that I'm older, I
Right. And
realize,
that's a great one, Malika, about not asking questions, right? Like having a, because growing up in a household where your parents was like, you don't speak or you don't have a right to ask, right? There, it's somewhere along the line, there are some children who rebel against that, and they don't have that agreement, and then but most of us agree to that is the way to be, and then we take that on into our adult life where that is not workable, not asking. So
oh,
thank you for bringing that into the space.
thank you for this perspective.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, so where are we, Shan?
Yeah, Malika is going to read some of the comments in the chat for us.
Oh yeah,
Thank
the chat has been going crazy actually. There's a lot. Everyone has so much to say. Yogisha Stacy says, my son has taught me so much about advocacy, not only for him, but for himself, not only for me, for him, but for him, for himself. And I took that boldness of asking slash advocating for my desires. I'd look at how unreasonable he is and his requests were. And I was like, let me show up like that too. That's real. Terry says we actually engaged more than we when we had less. Jackie says energy is everything. Jackie says there's power in the world, and I said words are very powerful. Terry says she's going to start tracking the unconscious agreements that she has and the ones she wants to discontinue. And Jackie says, that's very powerful, Terry. You will not be disappointed. This practice is creating empowerment and joy in my life. It's quite freeing. Chantel says, when did I sign all these contracts? Where's the fine print? Cassandra said, because I said so. Jackie says, yes, don't speak unless spoken to. Children are meant to be seen, not heard. Theodora says, that is so true. Speak when spoken to. Terry says, God told I would not see 18. With all my teeth, speaking up was seen as talking back. That's horrible. I hate that. I think we're just going
Mm-hmm.
to scroll up to see a little bit more. Jackie says, advocating for myself does not make me difficult. I can be a respectful person and still name a disservice. That is my declaration now. Healthy, wealthy, wise says multitasking for me allows me to miss magic of the moment. Engaging is so important to me, not with Google. That's so real. You learn so much when speaking to people. Jackie says, it's like change in a friendship. When we are in a relationship with a romantic partner, some of us engage with our friends when we are not in a romantic relationship, but we pull away from friends when we get into intimate partnerships. This has been a big complaint between friends.
Mm. So one thing that I heard in the chat was about one of the comments that you read, Malika. You know, sometimes when we the transition, like you're still not wrong for having these unconscious agreements. I want to make that clear because they're not conscious, right? We're moving our unconscious agreements into consciousness and just declaring to see whether we still agree with that way of being or those choices, right? We're just moving the unconscious into the conscious. A great strategy for this is actually writing it out, living in your life and catching where you might have like, why am I agreeing to that? How you feel in your body will also tell you. So there is so I created a questionnaire to start to uncover some of these unconscious agreements, right? There's 31 questions, and there's more than 31 questions. There's 31 main questions, right? There's a main question, and then 3 sub questions to ask yourself. And then there is a question that is directed to your inner child, because a lot of these unconscious agreements come from our inner child, which is your inner child, your inner teen, and your inner young adult. They all 3 have different perspectives. An inner child who's 0 to 11 is not going to think like a teenager from 12 to 18, or a young adult from 19 to 30, right? They all have 3 different perspectives. So the questions are formed in a way to ask the adult, the present adult that you are today, a question around your unconscious agreement, and also to ask your inner child a question around your unconscious agreement. So an example of that, here's one of the questions. Got to put your glasses on because you know your girl can't read without them. And so an example of the adult question, it would be, which belief about restoration keeps you from repairing harm or seeking repair, and why? One of the unconscious agreements we have is to not apologize. To not apologize and reconcile and restore. And we got to be honest about that, and how uncomfortable it is when you know you transgressed over a line. And what unconscious agreement do you have about not restoring, or even when somebody has crossed the line with you, or seeking restoration? Now, I want to hear from somebody who has an issue with restoring or seeking restoration from somebody who has transgressed against them. I'll wait.
I can jump in, Ika. I can jump in if no one else.
Nope.
Nope. Oh, I'll hold that. Oh, Cassandra.
Awesome. Thank you, Cassandra.
Grand Rising. So actually just yesterday, I had my session with my counselor, and my co-founder and I have been at odds and kind of like just not dealing with stuff that we need to deal with around our organization. And I'm like, at this point, I just want to like, send her a letter and just be done with it. or just not speak to her. And so my counselor's like, but are you avoiding talking with her? Are you avoiding telling her how you feel and actually working through it versus just like cutting her off? Because I do have an issue with that. Once you cross the line, I'm just like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. And I'll just walk away. And so she's like, but yeah, in the organization, you can't really do that. And I have a lot of assumptions, I guess, about how I feel that she should be acting in the organization, and she's not. And so I think seeking the restoration right now is what I'm avoiding. Because I don't feel like I should go after her. I feel like you're the one doing the craziness, being messy right now. Why should I come chasing after you when you know better?
So I don't know, Cassandra, if you know me, you've been in my sessions. Um, have you?
Yes.
Um, so do you know what I say about shoulds?
I don't want to know.
Shoulds create suffering.
Okay.
All shoulds create suffering because they're not based in reality.
Mm-hmm.
She should X, Y, and Z. Is she shoulding inside of what you believe that she should be doing?
No.
Right. So who's suffering?
Me, I guess, 'cause
Exactly.
I'm the only one doing all the work. She's not
Right.
doing anything.
Right. Because you have it that she should
Know better.
something, right?
Yeah, that she should know better. She's like, yeah.
Yeah, but that's not reality because maybe she don't know better. Reality is that she's doing something that is not in the wheelhouse of your should. So shoulds equal suffering. So he should not have hit her, but he did. So if we focus on what he shouldn't or shouldn't have done, we don't deal with the fact that he did.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
The fact is he hit her.
The fact is, she ain't doing shit.
Okay, so the fact is the work isn't getting complete. That's the fact. So see, instead of shoulding and you deal with facts
Mm-hmm.
versus the expectation of what should or shouldn't be done. Do that person have an agreement? Do they have an agreement to do the said amount of work? See, that's a different conversation than you should be blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
If I go back to the beginning of what I shared about my partner, you should be smoking downstairs because I done built this whole lounge and this office. But that's not what was happening. That wasn't
Mm-hmm.
in reality, even with it factually being downstairs. That's not what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to deal with what was happening versus my expectations of what quote unquote should happen.
Right.
I should be in Morocco or I should be on somebody's beach.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, I'm here with you right now, being accountable for the title of the section that I wrote, being accountable for my agreement to this date. And so what you can speak to when you're speaking to people, you got to check your own shoulds
Mm-hmm.
because they will always create your own suffering. I should be this by now. Who suffers from that statement?
Yes.
Right. I should be married by now. I should be this size. I should be this weight by now. I should be a homeowner by now. I should build. All shoulds equal your own suffering. And even when you get agreement from people, people will disappoint you. I want to say this loud and clear. People will disappoint you. People from the beginning of time to the end of time will be peopling. They are going to get, they are going to disappoint you. We spend so much time trying to avoid disappointment. Haven't you been disappointed? Wasn't you disappointed when you was 4 or 7 when you didn't get the gift that you wanted? Wasn't you disappointed in high school when you didn't get the boy that you wanted? Wasn't you disappointed in when you got with somebody and they wasn't the person who you thought they were be or a friend? Child, you're gonna be disappointed your whole life by people. You cannot let disappointment shrink you into a box of life. Okay, I was disappointed. Now I gotta find some, gotta get back out there. You gotta accept that life can disappoint you. People can disappoint you. They will disappoint you. People think that moms are not supposed to be disappointed. Like once you become a mom, it just takes your disappointment away. And so your kids should be able to do whatever the hell they want to do, be whoever they want to be, and you're just supposed to not be disappointed by it. No, I'm disappointed. Disappointment is part of the framework. You're gonna be told no. You're gonna be rejected. Your ideas are going to be rejected. You're gonna be told no. People are not gonna like you. People are not gonna like how you wear your hair or how you do this or how you do that or how effective they're not gonna even like how effective you are. They're not gonna like that you having a bad day and try to correct you because you having a bad day. We have to accept and not let these things shrink us. And so restoration isn't about you do what I say or I get to have my way or I get to be right. That's not restoring. Restoration is really about understanding another's perspective. You don't even have to agree with it, but you can get it. They don't have to agree with you, but they can get it. And there are certain people that you can actually seek restoration with, and their heels are in the ground. They are not interested in getting you. And you got to get it that they're not interested in getting your perspective. And that restores you with that acceptance. Like, I get that they are not interested in getting how they harmed me. That in itself, getting it for yourself restores you versus being tethered to them, like they don't get me, they don't like me, they da da da, and now you're tethered to that situation, that person. And so I don't have an agreement to be tethered to no bullshit. You don't get me, it's all good. It's my responsibility and my agreement to get me. And I don't have an agreement to not restore if I cross the line. Because I have a bigger agreement that people are felt whole and complete with me in my orbit. Cassandra, do you get what I'm saying?
Yes,
What do you get about it?
that I don't agree. I guess that I have to agree that she's not going to do the work.
She may, if you
No.
bring it into consciousness,
Okay.
because it's another option. It's like, here's the work. This is what's required. Do you agree to do it? The same thing I said to my son. Do you agree to put the pillow back? He thought I was crazy by just making that statement. He said, agree. Yes. Do you agree to put the pillows back? Versus all the attitude, all the put the pillows back. I pay for these pillows. You don't pay. This is my house. Because all that's all coming from my expectations. Of you should know better. You see how that works? Now, if I was to yell at him, it's coming from a should. He should know better. He's an adult. Versus in this moment, do you agree to do this work, which is called put the pillows back? You get that? The difference? Hello?
Yes.
Do you get the difference?
Yes.
Awesome. And so, one, you want to just reconcile with yourself. You're upset. Give it up. Like, I get that this person doesn't get the what is required for the work. Maybe let me come back to the conversation and point out what's required.
How many times do you do that? Because I've done that.
All right, then now that you got to move into another sector. You can say, okay, you know what? I've done this. I've marked out what needs to be done. It still was not done. Right? Now, ask them, what new agreement, what new thing can we bring to the table to facilitate this work? Because that's all it's about. It's not personalities. We're talking about work. When you get into the personality, like how somebody should be or shouldn't be, that's where we get drama. But when it's about work, it's like this, then also do not agree to cover the work that this person is supposed to do. Because sometimes we cover people, we take on a load that is not ours just to get it done because we have an agreement that it should be done. I can't tell you how much I would do other people's work because I am like, this got to get done. But it's not my work. And then I get to complain about it. So sometimes you got to let things get like look a mess, not yourself be messy, but I'm saying you got to let things look a mess or people have the experience, their own experience without you jumping in and covering and taking the load. Because that is an agreement too. Like, oh, I have an agreement that if there's something missing, let me just put that in. Oh, if this isn't done, let me just cover that. You get what I'm saying? There's so many people on this chat that are people pleasers who cover people, take on the load, take on too much, bodies are exhausted, can't create a project for themselves because they're exhausted carrying the load for so many other people. And then people don't get to have the consequences. They don't get to have their own experience, their own evolution, because we're covering them. So that is something that you might want to take on, Cassandra. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. So we have 5 more minutes. Is there somebody else who would like to share what's opening up for you in this conversation?
Let's take a look at the chat. There's some activity in the chat. All right. Terry says, compassion is key to understanding restoration and acceptance. It does not mean we need to excuse behavior or actions of others. By not covering, then supervisor will see a need to take action. Paven says she's a former people pleaser here. Jackie says there's no agreement from the partner in that organization. Maybe if she's asked to agree, she might change her energy.
Mm-hmm.
Has a hand up.
Awesome. I see Catherine has her hand up. Catherine, you can unmute.
Yes, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. I didn't want to miss the opportunity to share. I just got back in from dropping the kids, but yeah, I was confronted with multiple things. Spirits been speaking loudly. I was just in the emergency room and experienced dismissal, neglect from the from the doctors there. And it wasn't until, and I was going for it. I was going for it until a nurse, a Black woman, she saw the condition, the severity of the condition, and looked me dead in my face and was like, "You tell them you refuse to leave." And it just slapped me back into the reality that, wow, I'm almost agreeing to my own demise. Like I could have walked out of that institution and lost my life and not have spoken up for myself, although, it was very weak, et cetera. But just, it just really, it's been sitting with me for a couple of days, this week. Like, what have I been agreeing to in my life? This has been a theme. It can get that severe. And so I just wanted to bring that into the space as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that, right? Like bringing your unconscious agreements to stay quiet into your consciousness can save your life, right? And it can actually interrupt like a path that you could have gone down. How many young people have lost their lives because they agreed to go with a friend or they agreed to, you know, to being a particular way and got themselves caught in a circumstance that has harmed them for the rest of their lives, whether imprisonment or just not even being here,
Yeah.
you know? And or agreeing like I'm the outsider and I want to be down, right? And so these agreements, these unconscious agreements, without bringing them into consciousness, they can very well harm your life. Like, so many people with diabetes and, just so many different illnesses that are out there. And we are like not standing up for ourselves, not advocating for ourselves because of some unconscious agreement about not being disruptive or not speaking up, having an agreement to accept neglect, accept, whether that acceptance of neglect is in your partnership with a doctor, with or accepting punishment. That's another agreement.
Mhm.
Like, I feel like I have to accept this punishment from this person, how this person is talking to me or approaching me because our years of friendship or our years of all of this obligation. That's a great place to look at where your unconscious agreements lie and where you feel obligated, where you feel guilty, where the fog is, where there's fear, guilt, or obligation. That's the fog, right? There are in those three, there are tons of agreements that we have agreed to. Catherine, thank you for your vulnerability and sharing, what that was like for you. We have had people on Wake Up close to our community who are no longer here, right? Where they can't even interrupt now whatever unconscious agreement they had. Imagine having this conversation with people who health declined. And because we didn't have this conversation about bringing unconscious agreements into the consciousness, really being like, no, I have an agreement, making a new declaration, like with the words, not just in theory, but with the words. Like, I declare to not allow mistreatment as a declaration. Write it out, say it, not just conceptualize it, embody it, right? Conceptualizing, we can, have all these thoughts, feels good in the moment, but to really declare, you know, I was telling someone, I said, my kids, they have the space to actually say how they feel, right? And they're not the most elegant when they're saying how they feel, and it hurts my feelings. I do not have a commitment or an agreement to hurt theirs, even if they hurt mine. Now that's a hard, because I grew up I grew up in a way where it was like, you say this, I'm going for the jugular. You say this to me, you hurt me, I'm hurting you back. Because I understand, if I went for the jugular, that impact is going to be 10 times fold than what they do to me. Being rejected by your source is going to have a greater impact than them rejecting me. Because you see, I'm here, I'm okay, right? However, if I reject them, so I don't have that same agreement. And sometimes we'll see somebody like, oh, they not doing that, right? And so it's like, no, I should be able to, again, be able to do blah, 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 and treat them just as low. But that sits in your body. And so, our inner child has agreements as well. And I want people to, if you are interested in receiving the 31 questions, please email me. My email will be in the slide later, and I will be able to send it to you. And you can go through the 31 questions as well, and start to uncover some of these unconscious agreements. If you want to, you need more support, and you want to have a one-on-one call, you can reach out to me, and you can email me, and we create a one-on-one session around this specific topic, around areas of your life that are restrained because you don't understand, like, why am I agreeing to this? We don't even realize that we have an agreement to poverty. There are agreements to being the weaker source because you're a woman, or whatever it is. We have agreements about being Black or brown. We have so many unconscious agreements that are limiting our expression, and are limiting the possibilities of where we can go in life. And so you want to stop agreeing to be mean to yourself. You want to give that agreement up. Like, I declare today, I no longer have allegiance to being mean to myself. I have an agreement to be kind, right? And to find the source. I do not have to bully myself to the source of what's going on with me. I can be kind to find the source. I have an agreement to be kind to find the source of what's blocking me. You do not have to humble yourself. You do not have to bully yourself into finding the source of what's blocking you in your life. You can actually have an agreement to be loving. You can have an agreement to be kind. You can have an agreement to flourish. You can have an agreement to be confrontational. It's okay. You might not be being confrontational, but the fact that you're speaking up is a confrontation to people who are used to you being quiet. You could probably even say whatever you need to say in the kindest words, period. But because they're so used to you being quiet, it feels like a confrontation. But I don't have an agreement to fight with you, but I do have an agreement to say how I feel about I do have an agreement to say my truth. I see somebody's raising their hand.
Christy?
I know I just wanted to ask a question about these unconscious agreements, and I may have missed it, but do you have like a way to put this into practice as far as like one, how to identify them, and two, like, is this something you revisit daily? Like, how are you so conscious of your unconscious agreements?
So, one, you can always work on with me. There's a few people in here in the community that works with me one on one to to shell that out, like to weed what the unconscious. That's the work that I do every day, is to like bring the unconscious into the conscious, unconscious behavior into the conscious, and then give you tools to navigate and how to embody what we just uncovered, right? There's that. Um, One, just for the sake of the session, when you start to see yourself like complaining, right? Like, why am I complaining about this? You can ask yourself, the best way to discover anything is to ask the question. Like, why do I believe this? What do I believe about this? See, we don't ask the question and answer it. We don't ask the hard questions and then answer it. But when you ask the hard questions, and so when my clients call me, I ask the hard questions. And you can't run circles around me, right? Your ego can't, not you, Chrissy, but like your ego can't run circles around me. You can talk, 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 and I'll come right back to the same question. Because the reason why the ego is talking to avoid the question is it wants its survival. It wants to stay the same. But you, Chrissy, are not your ego. It's something that you invented and created to survive. It's just that the ego no longer works for your life anymore. And so the best way to discover your unconscious agreements, it's like being able to own and be responsible and to respond to, okay, this is something I'm complaining about. Where is the agreement? What am I agreeing to in this area? Asking yourself the question, if I'm complaining about money, what am I agreeing to about this number? Oh, I'm agreeing to staying at this job that only pays me this amount of money because I'm scared that I won't get another one, or I'm scared that it won't work out, or I'm scared that I'll be rejected. I don't want to put my application out there. I don't want to be rejected. And so it will start to unravel. It's not just one strategic way. And I think I might even create a class. I haven't done a class for you guys one-on-one. I mean, sign up for a class. I haven't done that in years. So I might invent a class. I don't know, right? Around unconscious agreements. And so just like through the chat, if I created a class, would y'all be interested in joining the class?
Now you already know.
Yes.
You see all these hearts going up in the sky? Just the thought of it, people are like, give it to me, Mika. It's been forever. It
It's
has
been
been.
it's been a very long time since I've created a class for the community. But does that clear something up for you, Chrissy?
Yes, absolutely. What I heard was um, definitely working with you, but also like asking the right questions and really pushing yourself, like listening when you speak, like when you're speaking about a situation and trying to find a better word than complain, but when you're expressing yourself about a situation, aka complaining, and
Right. But
you
there's
hear
no better
those.
word for it. It's a
Yeah,
complaint.
yeah, complaining about a situation. Just asking yourself those questions like, why is this so important to you? Why do you believe it to be true? Just questioning everything. So that's what I
Right.
heard.
Like and why, you know, what is more so what, right? Like, what am I? Because it's an active thing, not a why. It's more so like, what am I getting out of this? Or what am I avoiding by doing this? Just asking, what am I avoiding? It's okay to say, I'm avoiding being disappointed. It's okay to call yourself out like that, because when you do, you're no longer controlled by it. Because now you see it. You get that?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Chrissy.
Appreciate you.
Anybody else before we go? Awesome. So another question that I have, I gave you the adult version of what that question is, right? And so the sub question of the adult version would be, what would repair look like in one small step this week? Like, repair isn't just about other people repairing with you or you repairing with other people, but repair even for yourself. It's like, how can I repair this old agreement that I've had? How can I repair my view of myself from this old agreement that I had? That's the adult question. The inner child question would be, what is one guilt feeling you could let go of if you were free to learn, if you were free to learn from it? The sub question for the inner child would be, who shaped this guilt, and how does it show up in your body? And so children feel more guilt, right? And children, our inner children, are operating from agreements because we feel guilty. We felt guilty when we were a child about something, right? And what we're trying to do is transmute whatever the agreements were from childhood into the present, make it conscious, and seeing, like, I'm an adult now. I don't need to have that same child agreement, right? So, like, some people might feel guilty if they speak up. That was from your childhood where you was told to shut up. And so some people, some adults in the present, as adult, you could be 52 like me, 68, whatever it is, and you could still feel guilty about speaking up. So that's what the reason why you feel guilty about speaking up is because there's an inner child agreement. And so the question for the inner child is, what is the one guilt feeling you could let go of? And that guilt feeling could be like, just to speak up. And then, who shaped this guilt? It could have been your mother. It could have been a teacher. It could have been friends at school, right? Like, who shaped it? You want to see in reality that you're no longer a child, and that agreement from childhood about not speaking up no longer works in your adulthood. And so that's the difference between asking the adult present self a question, and then asking the inner child a question as well. So that is the end of our session
Thank you
on
so much,
unconscious
Meika. And
agreements.
Yogisha asked if you could put the questions in the chat. If you repeat them, Malika, can you capture them for us in the chat?
Yes, yes, I can.
Thank you. Okay. And
Okay,
Yogisha,
so
was that your
great.
question? Your hands up too.
Stacia, is that
Thank
your
you.
question? You have your hand is up. You gotta come off mute.
Yes, Grand Rising. That was my question, Queen Maker. You look beautiful.
Awesome.
Thank you for this session. But yeah, because I was trying to answer the question and then you asked another one. I was like, wait, this is good. Let me write it down so y'all can put that in the chat, please.
Awesome. So the first question for the adult, right? Your present self as an adult is, which beliefs about restoration keeps you from repairing harm or seeking repair, and why? The sub question for the adult is, what would repair look like in one small step this week? What small step can you take to repair an old agreement? The inner child's question is, what is one guilt feeling you could let go of if you were free to learn from it? The sub question for the inner child is, who helped shape this guilt, And how does it show up in your body today? Another sub question for the inner child is, if guilt didn't define you, what would you attempt in your life or say to someone today? If guilt didn't define you, this is for your inner child. This is who you're asking. It could be your 11-year-old, it could be your teen, it could be your 20-year-old. If guilt didn't define you, what would you attempt in your life or say to someone today?
Mm, thank you. You know, can I say one thing?
Sure, absolutely.
Because what's coming up is interesting because that was a lot of questions, but the questions that stuck with me, it was like it's what would repair look like in
Step.
one small step um to the old agreement. Was that it?
Mhm.
Oh, okay, so and it's interesting because I was on the phone just with text messaging my husband yesterday, and
Mhm.
it's something that he said, and I was like, "Ooh, how did that feel?" Like even looking at the question, or like even something that he did ask me, and I was like, "Ooh, the audacity!" But then later on, it was a text message, and I was like, "Wait, Stacy, what are you feeling right now in your body?" And it's interesting because I was like, "Oh, I had a kind of like." What my default, there was a part of like a default way of being that used to come up that was like, oh, well, let's just do this. And I was like, oh, I don't have an agreement to that. Like, I'm not here to appease, I'm not here to please. Thank you, ma'am, but you can have a seat. Like I had to like literally, and I was like, guess what? I don't have to do because I'm have a there's an agreement somewhere like give people an answer like but and I was like, let me measure that. And I don't have an answer to this. I don't need to reply and be okay with not replying because it was a complete, but I didn't have to go on. And
So
I have
wait,
a
so that right there,
mm-hmm,
what you just said, because this is about being kinder in
mm-hmm,
your restoration with people and with yourself. It's
mm-hmm,
about being kinder. So being okay with being kind to yourself to say, it's okay
mm-hmm.
that I don't have to risk. That's a small step. It's okay that I don't have to respond right away.
Right.
That is a small step in restoration, restoring the old agreement of like, I have to give a response. I have to let people know that I'm pregnant,
Right.
right? So it's like, that's how you take the small step to restore and restore yourself. You restore the old agreement.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what it popped up with. As soon as it said agreement and then the small step, I was like, oh yeah, I took a small step yesterday. Like, so got it. And then like, yeah, being okay with it. And that even though I still had thoughts, I said, okay, you can breathe and release that. I know that you're used to doing that and it's okay. So I really had to tell myself it's okay. And where, other people's, I
Maybe
had to,
it's okay is your small step.
right. Yeah. So it's
Just
okay.
saying that to the inner child and the self, maybe it's okay is your small step. See that declaration out your mouth, it's
It's
okay
okay is your small step.
is restoring something to that inner child that felt obligated to respond right away.
Yes. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Right? And so that is a practice to distinct, like there's a lot of old agreements that need restoration for that inner young child, teen, or young adult.
Yep. It's okay to not say she's not eat.
You don't even have to add. You could just
Right.
say, wait a minute, it's okay that this is not, it might be it's okay that this is not going well, or this is okay that it's not going as I expected it to go. Oh, it's okay. So you're restoring and also your nervous system When you say out loud and you tell yourselves, we're okay, that is a small step. We're okay. And other people on the line, you guys can take that as well. I'm okay. That is your small step. Just saying that. We're okay.
Yeah, so thank you for that. Thank you for putting that in there. Because as soon as it did, the wheels started turning. I was like, oh, that old agreement. And oh, yeah, took a small step. So it's okay. And I'm taking on the it's okay. Thank you, boo.
You're welcome. And thank you everyone for, being in this session and participating and sharing vulnerably and also bringing your perspective. Engagement is so important. I want to hear your voice. I want to see you. I want to experience you. What is the point of me coming on here if I'm not going to engage with you? You want more, Miss Mika? Bring more engagement. And I'm here. But I'm not partying with myself. Okay. You want more sessions? More engagement, more questions. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. DM me. Ask me a question. Stop sitting on your hands. Engage. Engage. That could be a small step. Engagement instead of isolation. Choose an engagement versus isolation. That could be a small step in your life. So thank you. Shan, where are we?
So we are going to wrap up, and Malika is going to put up the slides. And I also want to share, you talked about restoration, and I was thinking about it from an integrity point of view, what we do in Be the
Mhm.
Tree. And we have a formula where you are restoring integrity, which you gave your word to. So when you talked about apologizing, I struggled with that sometimes with restoration because there's so much make wrong sometimes around apologizing. Like I'm in trouble, I
Right.
did something bad. But the restoration, the word, the vibration is different. So in restoration, you name what you said you were going to give your word to do, what actually happened or did not happen because you didn't do this, you were not being your word, then you acknowledge the impacts on you and the people involved. And then that acknowledgement, that's accountability, but people see you recognize what happened and how it impacted me as well. And then you share ways that you can do better the next time, what you can put in place to do better the next time. It's like it, it's a fully loaded sorry. It's like an action plan with your sorry too. It's not just I'm sorry. It's like I'm acknowledging what I did, how it impacted you, and this is what I'm going to do moving forward. So there's accountability in that too.
Right. And so a thing about that, right, is that there are people here who have not done Be the Tree, and there are
Hmm.
people here who have not done Landmark, who
Hmm.
don't have the structure
Right.
of restoration, right?
Hmm.
And so the restoration I'm really talking about is um, being able to reconcile. That's a better
Hmm.
word for what
Hmm.
I'm saying,
Gotcha.
right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Is we leave things so messy and
Hmm.
we don't reconcile them, right? And we're still tethered to it though.
Right.
And
Hmm.
so being able to reconcile and not I'm not a believer of I'm sorry. I'm a
Hmm.
believer of distinguishing the apology,
Right.
right? Distinguishing the impact that you had on another and distinguishing the impact that another had on you. It's
Right.
about the reconciliation of understanding the impact that we have on each other.
Hmm.
And that's how we really get that, okay, you got how that felt,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
That's the real reconciliation. But you also got to get that some people don't have the capacity to do it and may never in their life restore or reconcile with you. And you got to reconcile
Right. Yeah. Hmm.
that some people do not have capacity to distinguish or reconcile with you.
Absolutely. And then that
So
forgiveness
this,
is for you.
right.
Hmm.
So this is my special offer. I have a 145-minute call with me around this topic on unconscious agreements. And I'm actually not going to do a number. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to reward engagement. And Chrissy, are you still there? Is she still on?
1 second. Let's see. No, she's not.
Is Terry still on?
Yes.
Terry, you won.
Get ready, girl.
Simple. Boom. That's what engagement does.
Yes, congratulations,
5
Terry.
participation points.
Yes. Participation points. Yeah.
All
Let's
right.
go. Do you accept, Terry?
Right.
I graciously accept.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. And so um you can email me. You see it's MeikaJ74@gmail.com, and we'll set up a time for us to talk about your unconscious agreements.
Thank you.
Awesome. And this is my information. You can screenshot love offerings and donations. All love offerings and donations go directly to the admin team. Anybody who sends me anything, that goes to the admin team. If you want to declare and send a love offering to me personally, you have my email. You can send that, and I appreciate it. And so thank you. Next slide.
Thank you, Meika.
And so you guys
Thank
can
you,
read
Meika,
that.
for all right. Thank you, Meika, for a transformative session. I was not expecting that. Definitely unlocked and unearthed a lot of things that maybe all of us need to look into. And just like me and probably everyone in this space, we all live here different, transformed, and with a different perspective. And I'd like to encourage everyone in the space to share and give back to the space through a monthly love offering. So, a monthly love offering start from $25 a month, $50 a month, $75 a month to $100 a month. And these are monthly automated. You just set it and you forget about it. And if you are a regular, or if you know that this space has impacted you and made you feel better every morning, I would like to encourage you to share some love. And up next, we have Rooted in Worth, Renewed in Vision, Alive in What's Next by Valerie J. Lyons. That is on Sunday, on 15th February, right? And I'd like to pass it to Shan.
All right. So we would love for all of you ladies in the space to join us for a free Be the Tree Rise of Passage program for women intro session. So we call it an intro session and not an info session, although you will get info about the cohort 24 coming up, spring 2026. That'll be from March to June 2026. But we also want to walk you through what a session would look like so you know what to expect when you land in the space should you enroll. And so we'll walk you through the 3 phases of womanhood, and that'll be led by one of the coaches in our Rites of Passage program. And we would love for you to join us to learn more information. And this is a program from Spirit of a Woman. So it's led by Shawnee. She's our head coach. And cohort 12, a few other sisters in the space. So I will drop the link in the chat so you can join us.
Thank you for sharing this, Shan. I'd like to encourage everyone in the space, if you are going through a journey of transformation, trying to figure out what being a woman means to you now or what it meant to you before, I'd like to encourage you to join Be the Tree. This is my favorite part. If you're new here, welcome. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for being with us today. Hopefully, you stick around because it's always going to be great. But you know how we do. Thank you to everyone who's been inviting their friends, their family, their colleagues, or anyone who think they might be interested in our lovely community. Thank you for inviting your friends and family, and please continue to do so because we really, really appreciate it, and it makes such a difference when we see new faces in the space. All right. Is anyone interested in joining the Wake Up Everybody team? If anyone is interested in volunteering, getting to know the inner workings of the space, please email wakeupseries@gmail.com and Chantel will share the link in the chat. If anyone is interested in joining, we do need some volunteers for our upcoming sessions next month and thereafter. So if you're interested, please let us know. And here's our weekly schedule. So we're live.
Did the slides pause for you?
Yes.
Okay, 1 second. I'll bring them up. All right. Oop. So are we on the schedule? Let me pull this up. Yes, returning to that. All right. So we want you to continue to join us in this space, and this is our schedule up here. So we are live in Zoom Sunday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays are 90-minute sessions from 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. Eastern, and Mondays and Wednesdays from 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. Eastern are our shorter sessions. And you can always catch us live streaming on Facebook as well. If you can't get into the Zoom space, as Stacy likes to call it, the porch. And she came off the porch today for today's conversation. So thank you for joining us and sharing your voice. And if you want morning alerts to let you know when we are on the line, you can text all caps Woo Nation to 74121. And we want you to stay in touch, and we thank you for joining us this morning. And you can register for next week and take a look at the lineup by going to bit.ly/wake up movement. You can also catch those live streams on Facebook, as well as the recordings and the playbacks in case you missed it on our Facebook page, which is private, and our public group. So make sure to join both so you can watch the recordings. We're also on Instagram. We've been beefing up our YouTube. I'm going our archives and putting all of our videos from the past 6 years. We'll be giving you more information about our 6th anniversary coming up soon as we get closer to it on March 29th. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can always email us at info.wakeupseries@gmail.com. I'm going to take my slide down and I'm going to unmute everyone so we can give Meika her well-deserved love shower for today's session. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Amika.
You're
Thank
Thank you,
you for your
Mika. Thank
beauty,
you for
Thank
your
being
beautiful
you.
for Jess, for
presence,
your
We
love.
your
appreciate you,
love,
Jess, thank
beautiful
thank you so much.
you.
Your
Mika.
sharing, your vulnerability. We
Mika.
Always learn
appreciate
so
you
much
and
Yes,
from
thank
thank
you
you,
you.
all
all.
of
Thank
y'all, for
Thank you for
you.
being
Thank
showing
you
up
for your
looking
together.
so
beautiful necklace, your
beautiful.
Pour
beautiful
into us.
blazer, and that
Mika.
red
Thank you,
water
thank you,
bottle that
thank
made a
you.
day for
Thank
you.
you for
Thank
sharing
Thank
your
you.
heart.
thank
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 you.
you for
you.
Appreciate
being
and
here. Thank
deeply
Mika.
appreciate the
you.
awakening and the
Thank you.
transformation.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
Thank
you.
you so much.
We love
We
I
love
you.
miss you
you.
guys. Thank you, thank you, thank
Thank
you, thank you for
Thank
the
you.
you for the
love.
healing.
Engagement,
Thank you for the
engagement.
healing.
Everybody
Yes,
share, share,
engagement.
Yes,
share,
Mm.
Have a
share.
beautiful rest of your
Peace
day,
and
everybody.
love.
Love you,
Okay,
family.
hit me
love
Namaste.
you.
up,
Thank you,
DM
Mika.
me, ask me how I'm
Yes.
doing. Engagement. We
Yes.
are a
Okay.
community.
Love you
We
all.
are
Have a good rest of your
Thank
one.
you,
week.
marvelous Mika.